Sit down and welcome in Paul Rykoff, who joins us in the New York studio once again. It's good to see you, Paul. Paul's national security analyst, is an Army veteran, has a terrific podcast, Independent Americans podcast. Can we start? Let's start actually where Robert ended, if we can. The significance, you think, because it is a long time in coming to get people out, foreign nationals out of Gaza. We finally saw that start today. What do you make of that?
I think it's critical. I think it shows that there's been a tremendous amount of restraint by Israel so far, battlefield patience to help try to shape the battlefield and remove civilians. They're also in a constant battle for hearts and minds. They know that civilian casualties are weighing heavily on the world, and they've got to get as many out of there as possible. And I think important and often underreported is how many Americans are there. Yep. We need Americans out of there. We've still got 10 American hostages, which is also, in my view, not getting enough attention. And now we've seen increased attacks on U.S. forces. So Israel may seem very far away. Gaza may feel very far away, but it's very immediate for Americans and for American families and American troops.
Yeah, more Americans. Some Americans have started to get out through the Rafah crossing, that aid workers and the like, I believe. But you don't think the hostages are getting enough attention?
I don't think so. I mean, we don't know enough about their names. We don't know enough about their stories. I'm sure that there's operational security reasons behind that. I'm sure the White House and the military and CIA and others are working overtime. But there are 10 Americans that are being held right there, 10 American families, and we don't know their fate. And I think for the president especially, they have to be a priority. And now there's been a response. We've got 300 additional U.S. forces headed to the region, while we've had 27 attacks now on U.S. forces in Syria and in Iraq. So this is very much already involving the American military in very precarious and important ways.
Well, I'd be curious to get your thought on what's happening in the northern part of Gaza and whether that has risks for the American military as well. So let's move up to that refugee camp. We can look at it on our maps. I have the telestrator in front of me that Paul and I can look at, and we'll look at this Jabalia refugee camp. So it's in this area, Paul, as you know, right in the northern part of the Gaza Strip. That's 2 days in a row that we've seen strikes up there. It goes to the first point you were making, hearts and minds, to some extent, with all the civilian casualties that we think. Again, we don't know how many, but we know civilians are in that area, obviously. What is the net effect of that? Because you're talking about Americans getting more involved. Does it make it more likely that other regional players get involved as the civilian death toll goes up? What's the risk?
Potentially. I mean, everything in the north could potentially involve Hezbollah. I mean, that's the other shoe that could drop. You've got Iran also waiting and watching. But the advantage there is we've also got U.S. naval forces. So they can be closer. They can aid. They can provide communications support. They're providing ordnance support now. So the closer we are to the sea, the closer we can involve U.S. forces without actually having them on the ground, too, which I think is critical.
What should people know about this area? Again, it's a refugee camp, and I think that's the UN describes it and classifies this as a refugee camp, which allows the people there, so impoverished, to get aid from the UN's refugee agency that operates there. The Israelis, I can dispute that characterization. It doesn't look like a traditional refugee camp. You don't see the rows of tents, and there's permanent structures there. What should we know about the rules of engagement in an area like this, I think, for a military?
The biggest takeaway is how complicated it is. You can't tell who is friend. You can't tell who is foe. I was an infantry officer in Iraq, and we faced the same kind of threat where you couldn't tell who the good guys were, who the bad guys were.
What were the rules then? I mean, how was it defined?
They were dynamic. I mean, it really comes down to the small unit tactics, and you've got to try to preserve human life whenever you can. You have a right to defend yourself, but there are plenty of situations where a young kid comes around the corner, and you don't know if he's got a bomb in his hand or he's got a bag of groceries. And the really immediate part is young Israeli soldiers, 19, 20 years old, making profound, changeable decisions that could impact the entire global stand. That's the same thing we faced in Iraq and Afghanistan, around the world. So I always go back to those individual soldiers and the mammoth responsibility they have to protect themselves, accomplish the mission, and, wherever possible, avoid human casualties.
Well, the other thing that reminds me, I assume what you guys dealt with in those situations is the term high-value target. You would be going in for a terrorist figure, then maybe it was an ISIS figure who was thought to be in an area and, again, could be surrounded by civilians. So I understand the decisions have to be made in a split second, but when you're planning an attack like that, what type of calculus should a military be making?
Well, I think it's important, too, that the special operators are going to be the first to go in. They're going to be the ones to try to get the hostages. They're going to be the ones to go down into the tunnels. And then you're going to have the follow-on forces, the hundreds of thousands of reserves and others that are going to be more conventional forces. They're going to come on in the days and weeks to come once that part of the battle has been resolved, hopefully, right, in a peaceful way. But they're going to be small unit tactics, sometimes 5, 6, 7 guys and gals working together. together with air support and coordinated support, trying to coordinate air assets.
And that was happening, right? The Israelis were in there earlier with their special operations forces, we think.
Absolutely, and constantly, right? We're not going to know until afterward. I mean, we're not going to know about the high-value situations until they're safe, until they're out of there. But that's incredibly complicated, incredibly dangerous, and likely to be high casualties, both for the Israeli soldiers and for the civilians living in Gaza.
Okay, final kind of topic or point that I wanted to talk about with you today, because it's become a big topic of discussion here in the United States, is the funding for this war and whether or not it should be separated for the funding for the war in Ukraine. I mean, it seems to be pitting the Senate Republicans against the House Republicans. Again, go back to your experience. When there's men and women in the field who are members of the military, how do they look at that conversation? Do they care? Do they just care that the money comes? Do they look at the political discussions?
I think they do, because they're looking at the entire world. They say, who can hurt us? Who's a threat to us? And right now, if you look across the board, right, you've got Hamas, you've got Hezbollah, you've got Putin, you've got potentially China, and the Department of Defense has got a plan for all of that. So I think if you break it up into pieces, I think it's an incomplete way of looking at the overall global threat. We're not just supporting Ukraine, not just supporting Israel. I've said this before. We're fighting Putin. We're fighting to eliminate the threat of Putin that could overwhelm the entire European front, and we're fighting to eliminate Hamas. And that's not going to be confined to one area. It's not going to be confined to one country, and it probably won't need to be combined in one congressional bill. We've got to brace ourselves for a lot of carnage, but also for a lot of money. This is going to be long, hard, and very expensive.
We listened to the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer at the top of the hour there. Let's listen to a little bit more of what he had to say on that funding debate, then you can react to it. Senator Schumer.
The resolution will be referred to the Rules Committee, and when the time comes, I will bring it to the floor of the Senate for consideration. We absolutely must ensure that our military is fully staffed and fully equipped to defend the American people. And it begins by confirming these vital nominations that are currently on hold.
That's another topic that you've been all over, the idea that there are nominations by Senator Tommy Tuberville of Alabama, who we've interviewed on this program, on hold that could help overseas and elsewhere right now. I think comment out of the Marine Corps has been in the hospital, and that's brought this back to the attention that, you know, the number 2 there should be promoted. What about that situation, which is another issue that we've been following?
The military battle almost looks simple compared to the political battle we're seeing in Washington, which is really important. We need Americans to unite, to stand especially with our national security. I think what Tommy Tuberville is doing is radical. I think it's reckless. It's not even in line with his own party. He's seeing now pressure from Mitch McConnell. This is not the time to block military promotions over a political vendetta, right? He's got his own political agenda. This is separate from that, and he can't stop promotions for senior military officers. 2 members of the Joint Chiefs right now are not filled. And there's another downstream effect. You're wearing our people out. If I told you you had to host 2 shows or 3 shows instead of just 1, you'd get pretty tired. We're seeing the same impact on our military because this has now gone on for months. And it could be very soon 600 open positions across our military if he doesn't release the holds.
And he says he has no plan to release the holds. He wants to do this one by one, which would take a long, long time. Paul, thanks as always. It's always good to see you. Paul Rykov starting us off today.